So this is day 587 and still wiring the truck. But progress has been made. I know the kit says painless. Let's just say it's less painful. How's that? I don't know what would make it less painful. When you're starting from scratch, there's pretty much nothing to go on. So that part is easy as far as everything's labeled and systems are grouped together. The wires are all color coded and all that other kind of stuff. Where it gets a little confusing for me, maybe not for you, but for me, is when we're blending systems. Painless system comes set up for radio, AC, cruise control, power locks, power windows. That's the kit I ordered because I need all that stuff. And so this is the wiring kit for the old air AC system. And it is a self-contained unit designed for an add-on type install where you're just going to wire powers, grounds, and then hook everything up and use it independently of your wiring system. And that's what it was designed for. So if you didn't have an AC car, you don't have any of the wiring for the AC system, but we do. So how to incorporate independent wiring harness from, let's just say, a factory style wiring harness. It requires, well, it requires you have to figure some stuff out. Let me switch sides. So these are the wires for air conditioning from the Painless kit, and it is AC heat, power from ignition. So this is your power source, and then this is your AC clutch wire. So this needs to be hooked up to the pressure switch on the AC system to kick the compressor off and on. So we have one power source and then one activation source. And on this wiring, so the only things we have to hook up on this unit are these two power leads. So we're going to get power to the switch from this lead, and all of this plugs into our control unit, our control head up here. And then it has another power lead on this relay. And this is what powers the blower motor, that kind of stuff. And this is your AC clutch lead. So what I did is from the AC side on the Painless, I brought over the hot lead and the AC switch. And so I'll use this hot lead to power one side of the box, and then I can wire the other side into an ignition circuit. And then I have my two hot leads, and then I also have my switch going out to my, it's going to be a trinary switch for the AC. So it's going to run AC, it's going to run the fans. You could just wire this up direct and not use this at all, but it's here. And so, I mean, this is a 15 amp circuit. It's enough to power one side of the unit. And then along the same line of problems is the wiring for the electric fan. So the electric fan is designed to be a self-contained aftermarket install as well. And so what I did on that, I wired up the gauges and engine side. So this is temperature sender. There's an oil pressure sender back there. The wires for the coil come out here. And then the wires for the alternator. So this is like your main hot lead. So it wants battery power. So the alternator is connected to the battery. I didn't want to try to pull this all the way around. And I didn't want to run it through the back. If you're going to work on the truck, you take the battery terminal loose anyway, so it disconnects power. But this is a direct feed from the alternator via the battery, so it's a good connection. And then up here, the rest of this harness, I have the exciter wire for the battery light, but we don't have one, so it's just taped off. And then also in here, there's a hot lead, ignition lead for electric choke. So when you turn this on, when you turn it on, this gets power, 12 volts. So this will be used for my switch on the electric fans to activate the relay. Once I figure out where this goes, I can put a smaller wrap on it, or I can leave this wrap and then wrap the rest. This is the hot lead from Painless, and then because I have extra, I made another one. So I made another one, and then I shrunk wrapped the whole thing to make it black instead of exposing any red. So this is my ground strap for my alternator. So the alternator people want the same size for both sides. You could go bigger, but not smaller. So this is a number 4. This is a number 4. And so this runs down, and then I tapped the frame, ground off the paint, and put in a bolt. And then here's the wire for the AC unit to activate the compressor. It's just laying up here for now. I don't know how it's going to run. Stop! I don't know how it's going to run until I run it, but I was thinking it could run right here along this edge, and I could zip tie to these brackets, or I could run it up here and then zip tie it to the AC line that's going to go here, or I can run it along this one and then run it out to the front of the truck where probably the switch is going to be, but I don't know yet. And then this is all of our front lights, horn. So I pulled this through, and it's long enough to make it past the front of the truck. The headlight is going to be like right over here, and then I'll have to split this harness off from left and right, but I have the smaller protector for that. So the kit's long enough for your truck. This is the last bit of my 3/4 inch wrap, but it's long enough to get it to the front of the truck, and then I can finish it off, split it up, and route it. And so for this one, I was thinking I'm going to come up here, and when I put the side panel on, I can attach to the side panel, and maybe the same thing with this one, depending on where this goes as far as lengthwise. So the rest of this stuff is all interior based. I want to say the exterior is pulled and sorted. Steering column, brake light switch, which I haven't figured out yet, gauges. So I got gauge inputs from the transmission, from the engine, and from the Holley Sniper. So the Holley Sniper wants a tachometer reading on the output side of the tach. Whatever that is. We'll figure it out. So then all of my looms, they come down here and then they disappear out of the bottom of the truck. So be careful when you're pulling this stuff. You'll pull your grommet out. Go slow. Otherwise, you got to fish it out with a pair of needle nose pliers and then get it all back into place, because you're not going to get another one on there without cutting it. And then what will happen with these is I'll zip tie this stuff together to tighten it up as it goes up. And then I have these magnetic zip tie holders. So I'll clear off a spot and then we can zip tie up to hold it back if it needs it. There will probably be a center console style cover that'll go up and terminate the wires so that it, but I like this look, honest. If I can zip tie this up enough out of the way, gas pedals here, I can keep your foot off of this, and this, you know, put some carpet down, have the wires exposed, hot rod style, but you know, probably not. One of the more important parts about doing this is grounds. Okay, clean grounds with good connections. So when I hook up a system with a ground, I check the ground, I ohm it out to see how much resistance there is. So I'm getting around 0.01 ohm, 1 ohm, 0.01 ohm, 0.010, 0.01 ohms, 0.01 of an ohm. How's that? That's a good one. Yeah, I like that. 0.01 of an ohm. And so I will probably have to spend at least one whole day making grounds, just because you want everything. You want the cab grounded to the frame, the motor grounded to the frame, the motor grounded to the cab, the battery grounded to the frame, the cab, and the motor. And then on this side, there's not much space available for a ground, because you got steering column running through here, you got brake pedal running through here, and gas pedal running through here. So if you put it in front of the brake pedal, that's fine. If it's behind the brake pedal, you may be bumping it. But on this side, there's plenty of room. So back here on the back of the head, there's a bolt hole available already. So I can take a strap and run it from here down to my mounting point for my cab. And that'll give me an engine ground, cab ground, frame ground. But we'll still add some more, just to be sure. So, adding a system to another system, here we go again. I think today I'm going to put the gauges in. I can put gauges in, and you may be asking yourself, when are you going to test any of this malarkey you've already done? Well, soon. We could add some power and start checking things, but I still have exposed ends and I don't want any fuses blown. So I'm going to wait until probably all of this is done, let's say, because there's a hot lead back here. There's a couple hot leads everywhere. And now they're sticking on aluminum insulation, so everything it touches is basically a ground and it could arc. But I am not getting any done standing here talking to y'all. Nothing at all done at all. Right. Okay. So sorry. So one of the things about this Dolphin setup is it's got a plug for the speedometer. It has a plug for the 4-gauge cluster. And then the only thing you're going to have to hook up is, wire ends to the wire ends to the tach. but it looks like you can get to everything without taking anything off. So, you know, one of these is a light. Technically mounts from the back, but it slides in from the front because I can't get it in from the back because I got a brace in there. So it gets a little wonky. But we also have to hook up turn signals, bright light indicator. It's not that hard. It's not as hard as you... I hope it's not as hard as I think it is. But I don't think it is. So I'm going to set this over here for reference. I have a book on what goes where. So this is the speedometer hookup, and it has a little switch. And this is for programming the speedometer for when you set it up. And it looks like it's just a ground fault thingamajig. We will zip tie this up out of the way because we'll only need it for, you know, initial setup. The rest of it we will figure out as we go. Have a diode in them. So they're directional. Device is overheating.